I'm ready. I'm top notch. I'm
Okay.
excited to go. You ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2,
2,
and
1,
1. Here we go.
go.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Marty here, along with
Paris.
the wonderful Putties. Thanks for joining us. Overthinking and Anxious. Episode 2. Wow.
Woo-hoo.
We made it this far, and it's been a long run.
Yeah, so long.
Yeah.
I think the long run that you're talking about is like you're talking last episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a few people, respond back to us and give us some sort of their take on the flow of the show.
And we want to hear more. We want to hear more from you guys, what you think, what you want to see. Don't hesitate to send us an email, overthinkinganxious@gmail.com.
Yes. It's exciting. I'm excited. I know that we're hoping to reach, quite a few people with this and just kind of come hang out with us in the podcast world in one way or another.
Yeah, we're having a good time and we want to have a good time with you. So
Yeah. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about why we called this podcast Overthinking and Anxious, and wherever else the conversation takes us, really.
yeah, wherever it flows.
Yeah, because we all know that if we base ourselves on the first show, there's a good chance that there's going to be, a right here and a left there. But we'll eventually get to it, to the point.
Yeah, we eventually get there. We call them the mini squirrel moments. So
yeah, my squirrel moments. You call them my squirrel moments. Yeah.
Well, we have to. They're, I have them too, so it's okay.
So squirrel moment, can you define that?
Yeah, so for me anyways, it's when I'm, in a conversation, super focused, I can be totally passionate about what I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden there's this random thought that runs through my mind, and I stop mid-sentence what I'm talking about to express this other random thought that had nothing to do with what I was talking about. Call those my squirrel moments. Sometimes they're very short, sometimes they're long.
So why the word squirrel, though?
Well, have you ever seen a squirrel?
Obviously not.
I know, right?
Thanks for bringing it up.
Well, you keep feeding them peanuts and whatever, and
they're eating them.
Seen a squirrel.
Yeah, they're eating them. I think I'm gonna have to put a trail cam to see them get the goods, just to make sure they're getting them and not like some other animal that's like, fuck you, I'm taking the peanuts.
It might not even be a squirrel. It could be like a raccoon or a bird or something, and you think that they're squirrels.
Maybe. So yeah, I've seen squirrels. Not lately. I haven't seen any. Not with my peanuts, but.
So yeah, when you look at a squirrel, they're never they don't stand still. They're always all over the place, and all of a sudden they just run one direction, run another direction. So that's why I call them squirrel moments.
Yeah. So well, I don't have many of those. So
you don't have many squirrel moments?
Yeah, no.
All right. Well, whatever you need to tell yourself to sleep better at night.
Yeah, so how's the week going? Week's going pretty good. It's pretty good. No bombings, no terrorist attacks. That's a good thing.
Good thing, yeah.
It's a good week. How'd your week go? Pretty good. COVID, phase orange, bunker up, ladies and gentlemen. If you go out, keep it to a strict minimum. Wear a mask, wash your hands. Yeah, so it's a good week so far.
I'm laughing because you asked a question And I thought, I don't know why I thought this, that I needed to answer the question, but no, of course not. You have to answer.
It was kind of a little sketch.
Yes, you needed to bring that kind of like drunk uncle voice in.
I had to bring my dog tonight. I brought the slowest one of the two.
Poor dog. She's cute though.
She just heard a dog barking on the street. But anyway, yeah, pretty good week so far. So, where do you want to go?
Well, we said that we would start by explaining how we picked our name or
Yeah,
what it means to us.
yeah. Explain how it happened.
I don't think I was there.
Yes, you were there.
No, you did this by yourself and then you shared it with me.
Okay.
hmm
Yeah, I don't remember the moment.
I think it's because you were thinking about like the conversations that we always have and how we tend to like overthink and we overanalyze situations, and there comes anxiety. And when we talked later that night, you told me about this name that you had thought of: overthinking and anxious.
And then we started talking about partnering up to do it.
hmm
And then we're like, well, yeah, it's like a perfect name. Like instead of saying Marty and Paris, it's like overthinking and anxious, because you're definitely an overthinker.
I absolutely am. Absolutely. And you're definitely anxious.
I am.
So it
I
kind of fits.
definitely am. And then we have a touch of each on the other side. So it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Makes for an interesting name, and it's describes us well. And I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool as well.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. That was the podcast for today.
So I guess I can explain kind of like how I overthink in life, because I think that we all overthink in different ways. So overthinking to me, my actions when I do that might be different than how you overthink. So I've been an overthinker as long as I can remember. And I think that it hasn't always been negative. So I feel that overthinking at times has been a positive for me. But anytime that I'm faced with either a situation or a potential of a situation, I analyze the heck out of it, sometimes even before it happens. So I'll think of every possibility that can occur. And I always call it like the Murphy's Law. So, like, what's the worst that can happen? And I've always been like, okay, well, I'm going to prepare myself for every situation that can happen so that if it doesn't matter what happens, I'll be mentally prepared. But when a situation happens, I also overthink that. So I overanalyze and I'm like, okay, well, if I would have done this, this could have happened. And it just like keeps going and going and going. But I think that that overthinking has helped me a little bit as long as I do it in a healthy way, because I deal with anxiety as well. I've dealt with depression. So for me to be able to mentally prepare myself for these like situations that or endings that I've created through my overthinking, it's been able to help me. So it doesn't matter what happens, I'm often mentally prepared for anything that happens. So that's my overthinking.
Well, at least you see it in a positive way and a good way. You kind of get to a solution. You get to a point. You
Yeah.
just overthink it.
Yeah, and I mean it's not always positive, because I think there is like there are times when I overdo it. And when I'm thinking about all these different possibilities, it takes a lot of energy. And sometimes I worry and about something that's never going to happen. And sometimes I take the time to find a solution on
hmm
a situation that's never going to happen, just because I need to be mentally prepared for it. So it just takes sometimes a lot of energy.
hmm
So I need to make sure that I have a proper balance when I do my overthinking.
How would you balance the positive and then negative results? Like, what would be the percentile on that?
I don't think it's based like on a percentage. I think I base it on a feeling. So when I start feeling anxious about overthinking, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm overthinking too much. Like I'm causing too much pain or too much negatives in my overthinking. So I need to kind of figure out how to dial back.
So there is consequence to overthinking at times.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Consequence seems like a repetitive word in many different processes. I find
Yeah,
there's
and I
always
think
like consequence.
yeah, I use that word a lot. And I think that, with the conversations that we've had over the last few months or whatnot, I think I've told you about consequences, whether they're positive consequences or negative consequences, right?
Hmm.
I'm always, and I think that goes along with overthinking, because when I'm at a crossroad, or when I have options of a decision that I can make, I'm always thinking, okay, well, if I choose option A, what are the potential consequences? Are they going to be positive, or are they going to be negative? And how am I going to react to the positive and negative consequences? Am I going to be able to handle them? And then I look at path number B, and I'm like, or letter B or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, what are the consequences of that one? I know. Can we scratch that?
Sorry, but I'm gonna pass to number B there. I mean,
That's my French coming out. Oh my gosh, I'm like so red right
yeah,
now.
you are
Thank
actually. I was gonna
goodness.
say, whoa, you
I
just
know.
turned red.
Thank goodness this is audio only. Oh my
Well, I
gosh.
was thinking. I forgot to tell you, but I was thinking of using the video to upload on YouTube.
Okay, nice. Nice. Thanks for the warning. I
I forgot
appreciate
to
it.
warn you.
Oh goodness.
Well, you just looked like business classy, so I thought, well, she won't mind, so I just kind of forgot to ask.
Oh, okay. No big
Yeah.
deal. It's all right.
Um, no, no, but it's a possibility eventually, some way, somehow. But I just
Oh yeah,
find
for
on
sure.
Zoom, it's like, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
figure
see
it
in
out.
time. Right for now, it's audio.
Yeah.
But we're gonna keep growing this kind of movement and this idea that we have. And as it grows, well, new ideas come. So
Yeah, and I think on the first episode you were talking about like comfort, right? So there's a lot less pressure being on video and just doing the audio. But I think as we get more comfortable doing the podcast on audio, if we do introduce the video aspect, we'll all already have that comfort level. So
yeah, exactly. And speaking of, growing every time, I mean, we had a really decent number of listeners for the first podcast. So thank you to the people who tuned in on Facebook, because we posted it on Facebook
mhm,
on our page. We have a Facebook page.
we do,
Yeah.
called Overthinking and Anxious.
And a YouTube. And also, you can hear us on Apple Podcast and
Spotify.
Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many other podcast channels. And we have a TikTok.
We do. Brand new as of last night.
Yes. Tell people. Tell people.
Well, we have, what is there to tell? We have a TikTok, like hook it, like
Well, what's the name of our TikTok?
what do you think it is? It's Overthinking and Anxious.
Is it? I'm
I
gonna
don't
go.
know. You
I'm gonna go.
created it last
I'm gonna
night.
go double check.
Okay. You confirm, and then I'll replay this like whole situation that you're putting me in on the spot over again.
Overthinking and anxious,
See?
all one word.
Yeah.
But you have to put the N, like AND.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah. We have a TikTok,
We do.
and we're gonna try to grow that too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's called Overthinking and Andy Anxious.
Andy
All in one world. What?
World.
Oh my God.
Did you say Andy?
Probably did. Oh my God. I can't speak. Like, all right. So we have a TikTok and it's called Overthinking and Anxious, all in
Yeah.
one word. And the
Yes.
and is spelled out AND. So look us up and
Andy.
follow us.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Please do. We're on Twitter, and
Under what name?
under the name Overthinking Anks, I think. And I'm gonna go double check. It's all new to us. So you can type in overthinking and anxious, just not the AND, but just the and. How would you call that? A
Oh,
suffix? No,
I don't
not a
know.
suffix. A
You're asking the girl who can't even
abbreviation?
pronounce it.
An abbreviation or something? Anyways, we have 38 followers on Twitter since like 2 days. So go follow us, Overthinking and Anxious, or at Overthink Anks. At Overthink Anks. Yeah.
We're also on Instagram.
And on Instagram. Can you imagine?
We're
We
like everywheres.
we're
We
gonna
have it all
be
covered.
everywhere's with this.
Yeah. And we're posting every day. So we're trying to post a quote every day on top of our podcast that we'll post twice a week. And sometimes, I don't know, maybe we'll feel like posting a third one. Who knows? Who
We
knows?
shall see.
Yeah.
On Instagram, it's Overthink Anks, but you can look it up under Overthinking and Anxious.
Yeah.
So either way works, but it's just the username, I guess. You couldn't put the whole thing. So, anyways, still all easy and awesome.
Hmm.
It's very exciting.
It is very exciting. It's
Do
your
you
question.
always overthink? Are you like, is it a daily thing?
It's a daily thing. So I either do it pre or post decision. So if I have the opportunity to overthink before making a decision, I will absolutely take advantage of that. However, sometimes we need to make decisions quickly in life. I also have the ability to make quick decisions. But what will happen after that is I will overanalyze and overthink my decision just to see like what are other decisions that I could have made, what could have been the outcome if I would have done something different, the what ifs of life.
Is it for all decisions?
Not all decisions. I think that over the years I've gotten confident in some of the things that I decide,
Mm-hmm.
either some of my wants in life or some of my needs, and a lot of that has come with knowing who I am as a person and kind of like this whole process of like loving myself, loving my life, loving my journey
Mm-hmm.
has made me more confident in making decisions for my life. So I feel that I'm overthinking a little bit less than normal.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Do you feel like more free?
Yeah, I absolutely do because I sometimes I felt kind of like trapped in my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I wouldn't be able to shut it off. So I remember like just laying in bed at night when I was extremely tired but not able to go to sleep because I was like constantly thinking. And I've even had situations where I would wake up in the middle of the night because I had another thought about the situation. I think that I've been able to recognize though the positive aspects of overthinking, and it's kind of like, especially in my work, I am able to kind of like foresee different scenarios and prepare myself and my team for the different end goals or whatnot. So in that aspect, it's positive. So I think that every time that we have like either a quality or sometimes we call them our faults, there's still positive aspects of our faults. So it's just a matter of like extracting those and keeping those aspects and letting go of the things that cause negatives in our life.
Nice. I brought up a few things as far as overthinking. I actually
Mhm.
Googled it while you were talking, and I was listening, by the way.
I thought you couldn't multitask.
Well, I wasn't reading. I just brought it up.
Okay, all right.
And then I said, well, I want to look at this. So this one, keep it simple, 14 ways to stop overthinking on healthline.com. Just tell me if it resonates as I say it. Like, you don't have to say it yes every time, but just let me know at the end if it resonates. Step back and look at how you're responding. Find a distraction. Take a deep breath. Shut down overthinking by involving yourself in an activity you enjoy. This looks different for everyone, but ideas include learning new kitchen stuff, tackling a new recipe, going for a favorite workout class, taking a new hobby, etc., etc., volunteer, whatever. So that was under the realm of find a distraction. Take a deep breath. Meditate goes along with take a deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the bigger picture. How will this affect you 5 or 10 years from now? Will anyone really care that you bought a fruit plate for the potluck instead of baking a pie from scratch?
Yeah.
Don't let the minor issues turn into significant hurdles. A lot of people do that.
Yeah, totally. I think some of the stuff that kind of like resonates or with me, so the distraction is a big thing. So I struggle with that because to me, a distraction is only temporary. So sure, I can distract myself by either going for a walk or just doing something else and not thinking about what I'm overthinking about. But as soon as I stop that distraction, I go back to my thoughts. So for me, it's not necessarily distracting myself. It's kind of like figuring out, okay, is my overthinking negatively impacting me? And if it is, then I kind of need to change my behavior. I can't just distract myself because the behavior is not changing.
Hmm. So what do you do?
So another thing that you had said kind of goes in hand is kind of like, okay, think about why I'm overthinking. So is it because I fear that people are going to judge me, kind of like the fruit tray example? So am I afraid, like what is really going to happen if I just make a decision and something happens? So I just have to really like analyze what is the purpose of my overthinking and what are going to be the consequences, again that word that I use often. What are going to be the consequences if I don't have a plan other than my initial one? What if I'm not mentally prepared for anything that happens? Like how am I going to react?
Right. You've kind of like shaped a tool that or a few tools, but you need those 2, 3 tools put together in order to go through that exact process, which happens
Exactly.
often.
Yeah, for sure. And we have to remember that there's not like one solution to a problem that we have. Just because I'm overthinking today and overthinking tomorrow and next week and a month from now, whether or not they cause negatives in my life, the way I deal with that overthinking might be different every single time.
Right. I think my overthinking is mostly in a this is going to sound funny, but in a kind of like philosophical way. So it's not necessarily think about each process that I'm going through in one day, as it is more of a passion overthinking. But having said that, I do have an issue with balancing out certain decisions. So then I become an overthinker as well in those scenarios. I'll often balance my decision on something until the last second, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that is directly linked to the second word of our podcast, which is anxious, because I unfortunately have to deal with social anxiety, general anxiety, and also sometimes panic attacks on a daily basis. It's been a lot better over the last 10, 12 years, but I still have to wake up every morning with that in mind and when taken and take that into consideration. So often my decisions are delayed because obviously I'm overthinking, it's creating anxiety. I wait till the last minute to make a decision, and it's often, if it's a social event, it's often, I'd say 70% of the time, ends up being a no. And it has nothing to do with the people
Yeah.
that invited me. It has nothing to do with anything and anyone else but me, and still trying to figure out how to be adequately social without it completely throwing my anxiety in the shit.
Do you sometimes get frustrated from your anxiety?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because it's tough to deal with because of something that's going on in your subconscious or in your mind, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Do you know what I was doing while you were letting the dog out?
What?
I was overthinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
About what?
I was like overthinking about like talking about overthinking.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, like what did I say about overthinking? Like, did it all make sense? Like, did I miss something? Like, should I go back? Like, I wonder what he's gonna edit. Like, this is what goes on in my mind.
So did you have any notes?
No.
Oh, okay. All that overthinking and no notes.
Right?
All right. Okay. All right.
I've
So,
been talking a lot more, so like I'm not used to this. Like I need a break.
right. So, look at the bigger picture. We just went through that. Do something nice for someone else. Trying to ease the load for someone else can help you put things in perspective. Think of ways you can be of service to someone going through a difficult time. Well, that describes you.
Yes.
Recognize automatic negative thinking. Ooh, whew, this one's a big one.
It is.
ANT, ant, refer to knee-jerk negative thoughts. Automated negative thoughts, usually involving fear or anger, you sometimes have in reaction to a situation. And then there's like a nice little writing. This is on healthline.com. Nice little writing that explains tackling ant, the ANT,
Yeah.
but I won't get into that. I'll just continue the list. Acknowledge your success. That's good.
Hmm.
Stay present. Consider other viewpoints. Take action. Practice self-compassion. Dwelling on past mistakes keeps you from letting go. If you're beating yourself up over something you did last week, try refocusing on self-compassion. That's really nice. And then embrace your fears. Ask for help. I'm sure there's a lot of those that kind of resonate.
Yeah, like there's one that
It,
I struggle with, and it's when you said like get other perspectives or something like that.
mm-hmm.
I struggle with that because as an overthinker, I feel that I've literally thought about every possibilities and done all of the overthinking possible. So sometimes if people give me other perspectives, it causes more anxiety for me, because then I realize that I didn't do all the overthinking. I didn't think of all like the
Hmm.
possibilities. So then it makes me doubt my process, whether it's positive or negative. So I guess what I sometimes need instead is I need someone to listen to the crazy overthinking that I've been doing and help me process what I've already thought of and not necessarily give me new perspectives.
Hmm. I wanted to butt into everything you were saying about 5 times during that whole spiel. Obviously, I wasn't gonna, because it was interesting, and every time you kept talking, I was like, really? Oh, okay. Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Just because I guess there's just another way to look at this that may not cause anxiety, in celebrating someone else's perspective, seeing it from another angle, and sometimes maybe even a quite easier path to get to your resolution. So instead of it causing anxiety because you hadn't thought about and this and that and
Yep.
create confusion and chaos, literally acknowledging and celebrating the perspective that you got. I'll tell you, that's I've lived this just recently with you, actually, in a few conversations, because it seemed so damn complicated for me, and for you it was a matter of like 3 lines that you told me, and then it everything shifted in another perspective. Like, it was your perspective that you gave me, amongst, telling me you understand what I'm saying and that you feel what I'm saying and that this and that and everything. But on top of that, you ended up saying like your perspective basically in 3 lines that completely shifted my process and my experience in a new direction, and in a better direction. So I recently witnessed that. So, but I celebrate that about anybody that can come in with the angle of their perspective, and sometimes it's going to resonate, and other times not, but at least be brave enough to I think that's fucking humanity.
Yep, it is. And I completely agree with being able to see someone's perspective and being able to welcome that. As an overthinker, that's one of the daily struggles that I have, and I acknowledge that it's something that I continue to work on. And although it can cause me anxiety and stress or whatnot, I need to get past that. And I think the more it happens, the more comfortable I'm going to get with the anxiety of it. And eventually, I'm going to get comfortable to the point where there is no anxiety that comes along with it.
Hey, everything's a work in progress.
Yeah. And I think, just as much as I've helped you with some of my perspectives, I remember a couple of our conversations where I was doing my overthinking. And like I remember you looking at me and like, why are all these a problem? Like I was
Right.
literally worried about stuff, and then you were like, yeah, but like, what's the issue? Like I was worrying about stuff that really weren't issues, but I was kind of making them issues. And I think one of the lines that you did say from the like Google search there, it does say like, is it really a problem? Like what's the situation? So
Yeah,
that's also important as an overthinker.
we had many of those conversations like you described. We also had conversation about some of the advice that you were getting, or perspective that you were getting from the people that were giving it to you. Maybe
Mhm.
their perspective had kind of burned out, because we all have close friends, we all have family, whatever, that eventually, like, not that we'll never see their perspective again, but sometimes it kind of fades out a little bit because it's been kind of used. And I think there was kind of an issue there for you,
Yeah.
a new and fresh perspective from a person that is an overthinker and being an empath and caring about the good of humanity. That's probably what was also refreshing about the experience.
And I find that the main difference, because of course I had to think about that. I had to think about why some of my close, friends and family's perspectives were causing negative things in my life or in my mind, but your perspectives were different. Like they weren't negative to me. So I had to think about that. And what I came up with is I feel that you're a person who does not live in the past, but the others that are giving me advice tend to live in the past. And when you live in the past, I don't know, your judgment tends to be clouded, or you have those perspectives that don't have the right intentions
Okay. Or maybe you're just bored of hearing their perspectives because it's the same kind of perspective all the time.
because they're stuck in the past. Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
Okay.
To me, like someone who's stuck in the past is someone who thinks that what has been happening will always happen. So they're always going to be giving the same advice because nothing's going to change.
Okay.
I can't tell if like it's clearer or if you're still confused.
I just feel like you're throwing people under the bus.
What do you mean?
It's not that their perspective is wrong or bad. It might not be that they're living in the past. Like you might think that that's what it is, but maybe it isn't. And
hmm
if it isn't, then you're calling them out and throwing them under the bus because
hmm
maybe they just don't have a good perspective, or their perspective, you've heard it for fucking years and you're just tired of it, or it just doesn't resonate with you anymore because it's the same old, same old. It might mean that they live in the past, but
hmm
anyway.
Yeah, and I think that as our life changes, like I've made a lot of changes in my life over the last 6 months, right? And some of those changes have been drastic. So, but they're my changes and my journey. So not everyone has been able to follow me along as quickly as I've made the changes. So, they might have been giving me advice before based on how I was living my life. And it's just going to take a little bit of adjustment to give me advice on how I'm living my life now, or like the life that I'm meant to have.
Right. So that includes change on your side too. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot there. And I wasn't judging you by any means.
No, it's okay. I wasn't taking it as judgment.
If you see my perspective, then you kind of like, yeah, well, that's a funny way of thinking. It's a good
Yeah.
kind of a cool way of thinking. And I might try to adopt that once in a while and see it in that light.
Yeah, no, for sure. As we're making like the changes in our life, we're focused on us and why we're making the change and the journey and whatnot. But we often forget on how the changes that we're making are going to affect those around me or around us.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
and not everyone's going to adapt to the changes at the same pace.
Yeah. And we just got to be, you got to be conscious of that. We got to be
Yeah.
conscious of that.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you need to stop what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you have to slow down, but you have to be understanding of people's reactions or their need to maybe sometimes take a step back or maybe ask you more questions to understand why you're changing.
Yeah, for sure. But a health journey brings so much positive, don't you think?
It does.
Brings positive in relationships with family members, friends, whatever the case may be. Again, I say health journey. This is a journey. It's a freaking, that famous cliche line, it's a marathon,
Yeah.
not a race. It's a marathon, not a race. Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
is. It's a journey. It's not like it's going to be perfect every day. And I'm not sitting here imagining that I was supposed to work out today. And the extent of my workout was basically doing my laundry and doing a few things around the house, but not even close to what I should be doing or could have done. I'm in a little bit of a rut when it comes to the workouts, and I need to dial it back in. You have to give yourself perks and a tap on the shoulder or tap on the back for the good things that you do. And today, my Fitness Pal was a solid day so far. And I left myself a bit of points for after we shoot the podcast. Even though it's late, I usually go to bed a bit late anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's ended up on me here, and I'm talking about me, but we ended up here. So I'm just kind of talking about that journey. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're talking about like the health journey and how it's
Non-perfection.
positive. The health
Yeah.
journey be positive, yeah.
Yeah, if you can keep consistency, it doesn't have to be perfect as long as you can make it consistent. And I've kind of flubbered on that in the last couple months with my smoking and now the workouts in the last few weeks. So I need a kick in the ass here. But the fucking weather, man, it plays with my mind. Somebody please send me an email about weather, how to control weather. Please. Silicon Valley.
How to become Mother Nature.
There's got to be somebody in Silicon Valley, California, that knows how to control the fucking weather. So please hit me up. You're probably working at Tesla, you know. You're working for Elon Musk somewhere, SpaceX, whatever. But just take a minute, send me an email. I know you got important shit to do, like build fucking technology for spacecrafts, but I need to know how to control the weather so that the poles could shift a little bit and we could have heat, a lot more heat and nice weather, because the weather's playing, man. The weather's playing on me.
Yeah, I mean, the weather is having an impact on me and my workouts. Like in the summer and fall, I was like doing so many things, like whether it was walking or biking or whatnot. But I think we just need to realize that it's coming, so we have to adjust to it, because we can't let the weather kind of like make us lose the motivation to why we started in the first place. And I find that, while we were exercising, it was helping with the weight loss journey so much more than just focusing on nutrition.
Right. So what's the answer? Like, are you quitting?
No, not at all. So when I first started, I remember walking 3 kilometers.
3 what?
Oh my gosh.
You walked 3 what?
I can't even say it anymore.
Kilometers? Kamala Harris? Are we talking American politics? No, we can. I mean, I like Kamala Harris. I think she's going to be good.
3 kilometers.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. All right. We're good. Okay. Cool. So I remember walking those 3 kms and being completely out of breath. I was in pain. It was really bad. So at that time, I did not have the motivation at all to want to go out. So I feel that the lack of motivation that I had at the very beginning of starting my journey is kind of similar to what I'm feeling now because of the cold weather and like lack of sunshine and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I found it. I was able to find a motivation then. So I kind of just need to dial back in and find a new type of motivation.
Mm-hmm. I'm struggling with that. And I think it has to do with the weather and now with my smoking really bothering me, So fuck, man, I have to deal with it.
Do you, like, I know it's been a little bit since you've like done the workout or whatnot, but once you've started, how do you feel when you're kind of like in the middle of it?
Oh, I feel good. Yeah.
So it's literally just the getting started that we're struggling with, because even me,
Yeah.
once I start my workout, like I'm in it and I'm in it for the long haul, but it's to just get that motivation to make that first step, or to, just pedal that first, I don't know what I was gonna say with the bike.
So I got my workout kit there in this box right here, okay, in my living room.
Yeah.
It's all ready. On top of that box, I have like 52 fucking hockey jerseys and name bars. And then next to that, I have a bag with clothes that I don't need anymore that I have to go bring to the Salvation Army.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of that, I have my grocery bags. Like, it's all there. Is that fucking motivating, do you think? Like, Marty, pick up the jerseys, put them in your room until you need them, because right now you're in orange phase, so you can't fucking do anything with them for 2 weeks. So pick them up. Go pick them up. Put them in your room. Put them away in your room. You got 2 nice fucking containers. It's going to be 2 containers in a corner of your room for a week, 2 weeks max. And then a bag of clothes. Marty, the Salvation Army, that box, it's literally less than a kilometer drive from your place, brother. You jump, take that bag, you just jump in the car, and you go. And next thing you know, my grocery bags can go in the car too, right? That's clear.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm looking at my workout setup, which is just a little box with all the stuff inside of it. And it's looking a lot more attractive and motivating. Sorry, I went on a rant there.
It's all right.
I was a little
I wouldn't
fired up.
expect anything less.
I was fired up. I'm fired up, putties.
That's good. You need to be fired up. We need to set ourselves up for success. You need to find the fire that you had in the summer, in the fall, because you want that.
Yes.
And you feel so much better about yourself once you've accomplished that workout.
Big time. And I need to really figure out how to quit smoking. Smoking, if anybody out there is listening and that you're a smoker, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're not a smoker, you can fuck right off because you don't know.
Thanks.
If you're a smoker, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. You feel draggy at times. You feel like out of breath. It's not motivating to be a smoker. Yet we're freaking addicted. And people are probably listening saying, well, fucking quit, Marty, Just give it up, man. It's coming.
You've done it before.
Yep. It's got to be on the list. It's got to be on the list, and it's got to be on priority.
The thing is, like, we need to do the things that make us feel better, right? So we might not have the motivation to exercise, but once we exercise, we feel better. We actually have more energy. People think that exercising tires you out, but it actually gives you more energy. And then the whole smoking, I don't know what you're going through, like, to, quit smoking, but I think we've all dealt with some sort of addiction, right? So I've had a food addiction. I've done like the overeating and the binge eating and all that stuff, and that in itself was hard and a struggle. And I know that cigarettes are even more addicting than food, and I know the struggles that I went through. So I can just imagine what you are going through. But at the end of the day, you have the want to quit smoking.
Yes.
You know the benefit of quitting smoking. So you just got to get it done, and you've done it before, and I believe in you, and I know a lot of people that are going to be listening to this believe that you can do it. So you just got to get it done. Believe in yourself and, like, kind of push through, and you're going to have support along the way.
Yeah, and along the process, you also have to realize exactly what you often say is that what are the consequences to smoking? In my case, they're horrible if you think about it. So
what are they? Let's go over those.
Well, I mean, we don't need to tell people that I have a heart problem. We don't need to tell anybody that I've had 5 open heart surgeries as a child. And we don't need to tell people that my kids hate that I'm a smoker. We also don't need to tell people that I'm a hockey coach that smokes, and that if you want to lead by example, it's important also to take care of yourself, and wellness and self-care is important. So you should be showing that as you did when you quit. You also don't have to tell anybody that I'm always out of breath and that I'm unmotivated. And I guess I wouldn't want you to tell my cardiologist, although he knows that I used to smoke, but he probably thinks I quit because I had quit for a while and a couple of years, and I was excited and happy to tell him. Also, the expense. Anyways, it's not like, anyways, let's move on. No, it's something that is in my priority list and that I have been talking about quite a bit and that I just need to really dial in. So I guess another consequence is guilt, because you feel guilty for your kids. You feel guilty for the people like your family that, my mom's not happy that I smoke, my dad either. They don't give me shit for it, but I mean, they're not happy. So there's
I
guilt.
think it's just the people in your life, we want to see you healthy, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. And
I
like,
think when
I feel guilty too, like for Krista that started again. And I know that I'm a factor because I mean, she knew, like I was going to the garage, you know, she knew where I was going, what I was doing. And
Mhm.
after a while, well, once or twice, maybe we'd roll a little joint or whatever. And then I would have a smoke after. Well, then whatever. Oh, give me a puff, whatever. Yeah. So it's a bad habit and it's horrible. Anyway, let's move on.
did we finish talking about like the name? So Marty, we talked about overthinking, but I feel like we haven't talked too much about anxiety. So Marty, let's talk about the anxiety portion of our name. Why was it so important to include it?
Oh, wow. You're going deep.
I wish sometimes that we could put little video clips of
Right.
some of your like expressions, because seeing it is quite hilarious. Because people are probably thinking like, why is she laughing so much? Because like some of the stuff is definitely funny, but I'm laughing extremely sometimes because of what I see on camera.
Okay. Anxiety, anxious. Listen, for me, without wanting to get real deep here and really serious, I just want to be real for a minute. May I?
Of course.
All right. Society in today's age is anxious. Our children are anxious. Our teachers are anxious. Our police officers are anxious. Everyone's anxious for different reasons. Everyone's anxious for the same reasons, i.e., the pandemic, unstable politicians. Anxiety is just a part of us. It's just a part of our life. It's part of society. It's become a part of humanity. And it's definitely a huge part of my life. So I think being an empath, I understand that that word is extremely important to normalize and to discuss and to bring into light, because I know today that I'm not the only one that has anxiety. I see it all over. I think, it's important to be bold sometimes. And I think that word is a little bold and it sticks out. And I think overthinking is also very bold. And I think it describes us so well. I couldn't be happier with the name that we chose for the podcast.
Oh yeah, it's definitely perfect.
There's a lot of reasons why it's the right name.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's exciting. I'm really excited for this podcast. I think it's if I mean there's a lot of podcasts that I listen to and they kind of go in this realm, although we talk, I don't know, we don't talk about anything different. We just have a discussion
Yeah,
straight
we
up.
have different perspectives.
It's something we both like to do outside of the box anyways, right? So it just gives us a platform to do it on and to share it with anybody else that may have the same thoughts or may have different thoughts or may like to hear other people's opinions, or also that just need to hear people talk, and connect and then be accessible too. We're pretty accessible by email until we become like Oprah Winfrey level. By the way, Can we just talk about the new Chris Stapleton album for a second?
Oh yes, please, let's do that.
Like, if you haven't listened to it, do yourself the favor, check it out. Take the time to listen to the lyrics. Take the 52 or 54 minutes that it lasts to actually listen to the whole album in one session when you're not distracted or in a rush, or you know what I mean, playing fucking Angry Bird. Is that still a thing, Angry Bird?
I think it is,
I
but
have no idea because I
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't play games. I don't judge people that play games, but I don't personally play games on apps or whatever.
yeah.
Um, do yourself the favor and check out the album.
It is such an amazing album, and the amount of emotions that you get while listening to the whole album is just an experience in itself, and something that everyone needs to experience.
Yeah.
Um, there's not a lot of songs on the album that,
14.
yeah, no, but I mean, like,
Oh, sorry.
sorry, if you would let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
There's a lot of songs on the album. However, there's not a lot of songs that I would be okay if they weren't on there, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, for me, there's 3.
Me too.
And they're not all at the same level, but there's 3.
Yeah.
Other than that, 14 songs, if only 3 of them don't really speak to me, I'm totally okay with that average. And
Yeah.
even those 3, they don't bother me.
No, I don't skip them by any means. Like,
No.
I'll still listen to them.
Yeah.
But for sure. Now let's talk about your top 3 songs. And I know we've talked about this before and it was a struggle, but it was a couple weeks ago. So let's I know you've listened to the album like probably another 10 times since then. So top 3. I can always go first as well, doesn't matter.
Yep.
And I think we need to take starting over out of that equation of possibilities.
Okay, go.
Okay, so Joy of My Life, When I'm With You, and Maggie's song.
Yeah. All nice songs.
I almost put Arkansas in there, but like I don't know, like Maggie's song right now is connect. Like I don't know, I'm feeling that one more right now. But I love so many of them.
Yeah. Watch You Burn.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
Nashville, Tennessee. And right now I'm tripping more on Arkansas, but it's a very close tie with Maggie's song. They're all good, but the ones that we are mentioning are definitely some of the best. And of course, like you said, that's excluding Starting Over.
Right. So a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it, it's funny because your top 3 songs were different than what they are today.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it has to do with like kind of the mood that we're in or in that time, because there's so many good songs that it's so easy to change what your favorite is.
Exactly. It's a great album.
It is.
Check it out, guys. It's available everywhere, obviously. I know a lot of you know who he is, Chris Stapleton, but a lot of you still maybe haven't taken the time to dive in to the album or to other of his albums. It's worth diving in. Makes you nostalgic, makes you it's a feel good, and sometimes it can bring out emotion too, but this one here is it's a solid one anyways. It's worth taking 52 minutes to listen to.
Yeah, I find that this album has like a variety of different emotions that it brings you. There's like love and there's anger and like it's just so many different feelings. It's amazing. It's really, and I said it before, it's an experience.
It is. Yeah. It's not negative at all.
My goodness. Like, can I, like, man, I think this is the perfect time to, like, I mess things up all the time. And
Right.
I'll say words that aren't words. I remember probably a couple years ago, at work, they realized that I can't say the full word for a hippo. So I went through like almost this training on how to say the long version of the word hippo, which I still struggle with. So I used to always say hippopotamus, because why not add a couple extra syllables, right? So to me, hippopotamus sounds so natural, but that's not how you say it. So I really need to think about it, and I'm probably still gonna mess it up, but I know now that it's no, I can't, never mind. It's been too long. I used to practice all the time. But yeah, I mess up things all the time. And I'll kind of share just like a funny-ish story, I suppose.
You're going there?
Yeah, I'm going there. It's happening. It's happening.
Okay.
So I was at work and I was in a conference room, with coworkers. And, there's an expression that when something is useless, the proper expression is useless as tits on a bull.
Right.
Well, that's not what I was saying. Now, I'm 35 years old. And I don't know when I started saying that expression, but probably for a good 10 years, I've been saying it wrong. And I swear, none of my friends, none of my family members ever corrected me. So I was in this conference room and I said it. They started laughing like crazy. And I was like, what's wrong? And they made me repeat it like 3 times. And they corrected me. So all these years, I used to say that it's useless as tits in a bowl, like a bowl, like that you eat out of. So now thinking about it, it doesn't really make sense. The
Hit
expression
in a bowl.
in a bowl, like a cereal bowl, like a bowl.
So you never really reflected on what it actually meant. You just reflected on the saying.
Exactly.
Tit
But
in a bowl.
yes, but now, to my defense, tits in a bowl are pretty fucking useless, don't you think?
Tits on a bowl. Tits in a bowl. Yeah, they're pretty
So I
useless.
never questioned it. I never questioned it. But anyways, that's just to say that I do mess up words. I will mess up expressions. And I welcome the laughter. So please enlighten me on the proper, pronunciation of things. And I'm all about laughing at myself. So
Perfect. Send an email. Overthinking anxious at gmail.com.
all of the words that you messed up this evening on the podcast.
Yeah.
Although you're doing a pretty good job at pointing them out.
Well, I'm struggling too. So I struggle at times too. It's different every time for me. Sometimes I find the words really easy, and other times it's a bit more testy or difficult. But I love talking English. I love talking English as much as I love talking French. So yeah, and I'm proud. I'm happy that I'm bilingual and that I'm able to communicate in 2 different languages anywhere in the world. I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion. I certainly did. We were all over the place, and I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. And I think on our first episode, we kind of talked about what we wanted to talk about on episode 2. And I don't think that we touched on that, but that's the beauty of like having a podcast and kind of like living in the moment.
Exactly. We wanted to talk a bit more about why we chose the name Overthinking and Anxious. And I mean, I feel that we've gone around the whole freaking subject a million times around. And I think people understand. Like, I think it might be clear by now.
I think so, but I might overthink about it tonight.
Oh my God, I hope Marty edits it well, and I hope Marty doesn't forget to take that part out. And oh, I can't remember what I said.
Yeah, I messed up so many words. He laughed at me, and then I was like laughing
I hate
funny. And
I hate not having control. I wish I had control. I knew how to edit. I would offer to edit myself, and I wouldn't sleep all night, and then I go to work the next day just because I want to have control. We started being active on social media, well, as podcast partners, basically, and as a podcast. So we are on pretty much all social media now. You can reach us by email, overthinkinganxious@gmail.com.
don't hesitate to send us an email with your thoughts, what you'd like us to cover. If you have a story that you want to share and you kind of want us to maybe like provide opinions on or analyze, or I don't know, maybe overthink, who knows? Just let us know. Send us an email.
So reach out, please. So last time, Putties, I actually sort of left off. I kind of signed off of our show to the people. And well, I don't want to hog the sign off. It's an important part, talking to our people and telling them goodbye and all that. I think it's such an important thing.
It is. But don't you feel that I did so much better, like from a being able to actually talk this time?
Yeah, it's probably more like I did better being able to shut up so you could talk.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe I gave you a couple of looks here and there just to say like, hey, I got something to say, like stay quiet, please.
I'd like to thank Melissa MC for sticking up for the ladies and telling Putties to talk more and tell me to shut up.
Exactly. Big shout out to her. Hopefully she listens to this episode as well.
You guys are feminists.
No, you just have a lot to say, so you
You
need to
do.
let us say it.
You do, and you know I want to hear it, and you
I
know
know.
I'm happy to hear it, and this is all in playful attitude or whatever, playful approach. We're having a good time, and
Sure.
I can see that it's going to go on for a while. This project, it's fun.
Yeah, it is. Well, it was
Good
great talking
vibes.
to you guys. See, I'm trying to do the ending, and here
Sorry,
you are.
sorry. It's good vibes.
It is good vibes. It is good vibes. So it was great talking to you guys tonight. We are looking forward to continuing these podcasts. Again, send us an email with your thoughts and what you would love for us to talk about. We're open to any topic of conversations. We are sending you good vibes, positive thoughts, and yeah.
That was a little call center-ish. Can you try it again on a different
Can
level?
you teach me? Can you teach me what should I say? Like how
No.
should I say
I
it?
am so kidding. I just wanted no, that was perfect. I was just kidding because I know that you always worry
I worry all the
about the
time.
way that you deliver. And no, it was great. Good job. But it was great. I just really wanted to,
Pick on me. It's okay.
yeah, pick on you pretty much.
That's all right. It's welcomed.
And I back everything you said up, and it's really, it was really great. So we're signing off.
We are. Until next time.
Yes. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye. I get the last word.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mm,
I know you control the editing. I get it.
I'm pretty sure.
You've already established that tonight.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
Are
sure.
you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I control the editing.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.